Imagine you've finally reached the top. You're sitting in a high-stakes meeting or a quiet, expensive restaurant. Your tailoring is flawless. You're wearing the unstructured blazer we discussed, and your presence is undeniable. You look like the most composed man in the room. But the second you reach for your drink, the entire illusion of authority dies a quick, painful death. Why? Because strapped to your wrist is a glowing black plastic rectangle on a neon rubber strap. In one split second, you've gone from a commanding executive to a man who looks like he's perpetually waiting for a notification from his gym teacher. Don't get me wrong, smartwatches are fantastic tools for tracking your vitals during a morning jog or monitoring your sleep cycles. But at 50, wearing a miniature computer in a formal or professional setting is a visual collapse. It signals to everyone in the room that you prioritize instant notifications over permanent presence. For the mature man, a watch is not a tool for checking the time. Your phone handles that with atomic precision. A watch is your silent signature. It is the only piece of jewelry a man should wear that possesses a mechanical heartbeat, a testament to discipline, legacy, and the fact that you finally know exactly who you are. If you are still clinging to bulky, oversized plastic gadgets or soulless silicone, you are telling the world that you haven't figured out your own identity yet. You are choosing the disposable now over the timeless forever. Today, we are putting an end to the wristwear identity crisis. We are exploring the 3 pillars of time, the only 3 watches a man over 50 needs to anchor his presence and command the respect he's spent a lifetime earning. Let's get to work. If there is one timepiece that defines the transition from trying too hard to having arrived, it is the dress watch. In your 20s and 30s, your relationship with watches was likely a frantic search for validation. You probably chased the biggest, loudest, most complicated chronograph you could find, a massive slab of steel intended to scream for attention across a crowded room. You wanted people to see the buttons, the dials, and the sheer mass on your wrist because you thought size equated to success. But at 50, that desperate need for noise should be dead. You have reached a stage in life where your presence is established, your reputation is secure, and your style should reflect a new, far more intimidating philosophy centered on the power of the whisper. The dress watch is the undisputed anchor of this philosophy. It is not a tool for the masses. It is a specialized instrument designed for the most significant, high-stakes moments of a man's life. We are talking about the negotiations, where millions are on the line, the gala dinners, where every guest is a person of influence, and those quiet, expensive evenings, where the air is thick with the scent of achievement. In these environments, clunky gadgets and sporty compromises are not just a mistake, they are a total betrayal of the occasion. A man who wears a tactical watch to a black tie event isn't prepared, he is simply out of his depth. To master the dress watch, you must first understand the architecture of minimalism. This is not about what is on the watch, it is about what has been carefully and intentionally stripped away. A proper dress watch operates on a singular, uncompromising rule of absolute purity. The case should be crafted from a precious metal, white gold, rose gold, or a high-polished, surgical-grade steel, paired with a dial that is clean, uncluttered, and free of the visual junk that plagues modern tech watches. You do not need tachymeters to measure speeds you will never reach. You do not need glowing, luminous numerals that look like they belong on a cockpit instrument. A man of your status certainly does not need his wrist to remind him what day it is. He is the one who sets the schedule. The dial should be a serene landscape of polished indices and elegant hands, nothing more, nothing less. This simplicity is a psychological signal. It tells the world that you are a man who values clarity, order, and refined restraint. But the most critical technical requirement, the one that separates the amateurs from the icons, is the profile. A true dress watch must be ultra-thin. This is not a mere design preference. It is a matter of deep-seated social etiquette and visual flow. A dress watch is engineered to slide effortlessly, almost magically, beneath the cuff of your bespoke shirt. It remains hidden, a private secret of quality, until the exact moment you decide to reveal it. There is nothing more unrefined, more low-rent, than a man in a sharp suit constantly tugging at a sleeve that has been snagged by a massive, oversized watch. It looks desperate, it looks cluttered, and it completely shatters the illusion of effortless power. When you have to fight your clothes just to check the time, you have already lost the room. True maturity is recognizing that elegance is frictionless. This brings us to an epidemic that has infected the wardrobes of so many mature men: the James Bond delusion. I see it constantly. A man in a sharp, dark navy suit or a tailored tuxedo, proudly sporting a massive, chunky diver's watch with a thick metal bracelet and a rotating bezel. You have seen the movies, and you think you have cracked the code. You think you look like 007, rugged, ready for action, yet refined. But let's be brutally honest. Unless you are planning to backflip off the gala balcony into the ocean to pursue an international assassin, you have absolutely no business wearing a diving instrument with formal attire. In the real world, you do not look like a secret agent. You look like a man who forgot to change after his scuba lesson. A dive watch with a suit is visual noise. It is aggressive, it is bulky, and it fights with the elegance of your tailoring. Wearing a 15mm thick steel brick with a tuxedo does not make you look adventurous. It makes you look like you do not know the difference between a boardroom and a boat deck. Maturity is knowing that every environment has its own specific language, and the language of the evening is the slim, leather-strapped dress watch. Anything else is just a loud, clumsy interruption to an otherwise perfect silhouette. When choosing this anchor for your collection, your focus must remain entirely on the strap. Metal bracelets belong on the field, in the office, or on a boat. For the dress watch, it must be leather. Specifically, a high-quality black or deep mahogany calfskin or alligator strap. Leather provides a tactile warmth and a level of formality that cold, industrial steel simply cannot reach. It conforms to the wrist, creating a seamless, organic connection between your body and the timepiece. It echoes the quality of your belt and your loafers, pulling the entire silhouette together into a single, cohesive statement of intent. It is the final full stop at the end of a perfectly composed sentence. If you are looking for the icons, the watches that have remained unchanged for a century because they achieved perfection on day one, look toward the Cartier tank. Its unapologetic Roman numerals and rectangular shape are the definition of old money and intellectual status. Or look at the Patek Philippe Calatrava, which is arguably the most perfect object ever designed by man. For those who want that same heritage without the six-figure price tag, the Longines Heritage Series, or the Jaeger LeCoultre Master Ultra Thin, offer that same aesthetic of quiet luxury that commands immediate respect. This watch is your legacy piece. It is the one you will pass down to the next generation, not because it has 100 features, but because it has presence. It does not need to do anything other than sit there, discreet, expensive, and utterly untouchable. It is the foundation of your formal identity, and once you strap it on, you will realize that true power does not need to tick loudly to be heard. While the dress watch owns the evening, the luxury steel sports watch is the engine that drives your daily executive life. If the dress watch is a whisper of elegance, this is your firm, steady handshake. For the man over 50, this is arguably the most critical acquisition in your entire collection because it is the bridge that spans 90% of your waking hours. It is the timepiece that transitions seamlessly from a high-stakes board meeting to a weekend at the coast, all while maintaining a level of executive power that a plastic smartwatch simply cannot simulate. This category isn't just about durability or telling the time. It is about a specific kind of rugged sophistication that tells the world you are a man of action who hasn't sacrificed an ounce of his refined taste. At this stage of your life, your daily driver should be a reflection of your resilience, a tool that is as polished as your career and as tough as the decisions you make every day. The magic of the luxury steel watch lies in its architectural unity, specifically the concept of the integrated bracelet. This design philosophy, which rose to prominence in the 1970s through the genius of designers like Gerald Genta, treats the watch case and the metal strap as a single, continuous sculpture of steel. For a mature man, this creates a vital visual anchor on the wrist. Unlike a leather strap, which can sometimes feel too delicate or precious for a commanding physical presence, a high-quality steel bracelet has a certain visual weight. It provides a solid foundation for your silhouette, balancing out the structure of an unstructured blazer or the richness of a fine-knit, mercerized cotton polo. It creates a continuous line of masculine, brushed metal that suggests a permanent, unshakable status. When you rest your arm on a conference table, that weight of steel signals a man who is grounded, disciplined, and prepared for whatever the market throws at him. However, we must navigate the dangerous waters of the new money trap. I see men in their 50s constantly falling for the bling epidemic, watches that are far too large, far too shiny, or tragically encrusted with aftermarket diamonds. Let's be brutally clear. At this stage of your life, if your watch is so bright it is distracting people from the words coming out of your mouth, you have failed the test of elegance. There is a profound difference between a watch that looks expensive and a watch that looks valuable. A man who wears a massive 45mm gold-plated brick with a rubber strap isn't projecting power. He is projecting an insecurity that screams for attention. He looks like a man who just won the lottery and is terrified the world hasn't noticed yet. True executive power is quiet. It is found in the brushed finish of a Rolex Datejust or the subtle wave-patterned dial of an Omega Aqua Terra. These are watches that don't need to shout because their pedigree is already understood by those who actually matter. If you have to blind someone to get them to respect your wrist, you've already lost the game of influence. When selecting your daily driver, you must pay extreme attention to the dial color and its relationship to your overall presence. For the silver-haired gentleman, the dark, saturated dial is your most potent weapon. A deep navy, charcoal, or forest green dial provides the high-contrast pop against your skin tone, while harmonizing perfectly with the dark polos and navy blazers we've previously established as your modern uniform. These colors have a slimming effect on the wrist and provide a sense of visual depth that a flat white or silver dial often lacks. You want a watch face that catches the light in a way that suggests complexity and layers, much like the life you've built over the last 3 decades. A navy dial in a steel case is the dark jeans of the watch world. It goes with everything, it never goes out of style, and it always looks expensive without trying. We also need to address the chronograph confusion that plagues many mature wardrobes. Many men feel they need a watch with 3 subdials and 5 extra buttons to look sporty or technical. But unless you are a professional race car driver or a specialized surgeon from the 1950s, you probably have no idea how to use a tachymeter, and you certainly don't need that much clutter on your wrist during a business lunch. A cluttered dial leads to a cluttered image. The most powerful men in the world often opt for the time-only or date-only steel sports watch because it reflects a mind that is focused and uncluttered. It shows you value clarity and precision over features you will never use. When your watch dial is clean, it tells the person across the table that you are a man of focus. A man who doesn't need distractions to get the job done. Ultimately, this steel anchor is about versatility without compromise. It is a watch that is water-resistant enough to handle a sudden downpour on the golf course or a weekend on a boat, yet refined enough to sit under the cuff of a sport coat without looking like a piece of industrial equipment. It is the signifier of a man who is still very much in the game, a man who values precision, resilience, and the beauty of a well-oiled machine. Whether you choose a modern icon like the Rolex Submariner, the one watch that arguably started this entire category, or a more quiet luxury alternative like the Tissot PRX for its incredible value and 70s flair, the goal remains the same. You are looking for a piece that feels like a natural extension of your arm, a high-performance instrument that ticks with the same disciplined rhythm as your own life. It is the foundation of your daily authority, and once you find the right one, you will find that you no longer need to check your phone to know exactly where you stand in the world. When the pressure of the work week finally fades and you trade your structured office environment for a weekend in the countryside or a quiet afternoon at a coastal gallery, your wrist requires a change in dialect. This is the realm of the Heritage Field Watch and the Pilot's Chronograph. Timepieces that speak to the adventurous, storytelling side of a man who has seen the world and isn't afraid to get his hands dirty. If the dress watch is your evening attire and the steel sports watch is your executive armor, this third pillar is your weekend soul. It is the timepiece for the man who understands that true elegance doesn't take a day off, it simply changes its texture. At 50, you are no longer just a professional. You are a voyager with a history, and your watch should reflect that depth of character through its DNA. This isn't about looking like you're still trying to find yourself in your 20s. It is about anchoring your leisure time in a style that suggests you have already found exactly who you are. The beauty of a Heritage Field or Pilot watch lies in its unapologetic functionalism. These designs were born in the trenches of the Great War, or the cockpits of mid-century fighter jets, where a single glance at the wrist was a matter of survival. This history translates into a specific aesthetic of matte finishes, high-contrast dials, and oversized crowns designed to be operated with precision. For the mature man, this rough-hewn elegance provides a perfect counterpoint to the softer textures of a cashmere sweater or a waxed cotton jacket. It suggests a ruggedness that is earned through experience, not bought off a shelf. When you wear a watch with a sand-blasted steel case and a faux patina dial, those creamy, aged-looking numerals, you are signaling a respect for the past and a preference for things that get better with age, much like yourself. It shows that you value the patina of a life well lived over the shallow shine of something brand new. However, we must address the tactical trap that ensnares so many men when they attempt to dress down. I see it every weekend. A man in his 50s, who should know better, strapped into a massive, black, plastic digital watch that looks like it belongs on a Special Forces commando or a 12-year-old at summer camp. Let's be brutally clear. Unless you are currently jumping out of a plane or actively participating in a triathlon, you have no business wearing a bulky, multi-buttoned plastic brick on your wrist. It is the height of visual laziness. When you wear a cheap, oversized digital watch to a casual lunch or a weekend stroll, you aren't being practical. You are being careless. It shatters the sophisticated silhouette you've worked so hard to build, making your wrist look weak and your choices look immature. There is a profound difference between being comfortable and being sloppy, and at 50, that distinction is everything. A man of your standing should never look like he's given up on his standards just because it's Saturday. The secret to mastering this casual authority lies in the strap and the texture. This is the one area where you should move away from polished steel or formal alligator skin. Instead, embrace the luxury of suede, rough-out leather, or a high-grade canvas NATO strap. These materials absorb light rather than reflecting it, creating a low-key, quiet luxury vibe that feels intentional but never arrogant. A dark chocolate suede strap on a vintage-inspired chronograph adds a layer of tactile richness that complements the silver in your hair and the lines of experience on your face. It shows that you understand the nuances of style, that you know how to dial back the intensity of your office persona without losing an ounce of your commanding presence. Texture is the language of the weekend, and by choosing materials that feel organic and grounded, you are reinforcing the idea that your power is natural, not forced. Focus your attention on pieces that have a soul, watches that feel like they could have been pulled out of an old trunk in an attic or handed down by a grandfather who saw the world. Think of the IWC Pilot's watch with its legendary legibility and no-nonsense presence, or the Hamilton Khaki Field, which offers a pure, unfiltered connection to military history. If you prefer a bit more complexity, a Breitling Navitimer provides that intricate, technical allure that suggests a man who is still a master of his instruments. These are not just weekend watches. They are legacy items that celebrate the journey. They bridge the gap between the man you are at work and the man you are when the world isn't watching. By choosing a timepiece with heritage, you are anchoring your weekend look in something timeless, ensuring that even in your most relaxed moments, you remain a man of undeniable standards. It is the final piece of the puzzle, the one that proves your elegance isn't a costume you put on for others, but a fundamental part of who you have become. Time is the most valuable asset a man possesses, and how you choose to track it says everything about how you value yourself. These three pillars, the dress watch, the steel sport, and the heritage field, are far more than just accessories or expensive toys. They are the anchors of a life well lived. They represent the discipline you've cultivated, the legacy you are building, and the standards you refuse to lower, even on your day off. At 50, you are no longer a passenger in your own life. You are the one in command. Your wrist should reflect that reality. Whether you are closing a deal in the boardroom or walking through a gallery on a Sunday afternoon, ensure that your timepiece is a silent signature of your power, not a loud reminder of your indecision. If you found this guide valuable, ensure you are subscribed and have the notification bell turned on. In our next deep dive, we are going to tackle a topic that is arguably even more sensitive than your watch: the psychological disaster of jet black hair dye, and why embracing the silver is the ultimate power move. Until then, remember, true power is silent, and real elegance is timeless. Thank you for watching. This is Mature Elegance. I'll see you in the next one.